So I'm thinking about doing this in a two-part series because you probably don't care to see me do all of these chores. And then if you do, you can watch part 2. So we're going to start here with the green stalk. I'm going to deconstruct this thing and pull out all of these green bean plants that just didn't make it. All right, so the green stalk comes in different tiers, and you can just take them off like so. This is the top tier. This is how you get your water in there. I had actually left this open when I went on vacation, just because I was like, well, if it rains, I want it to go in there to go feed my middle tiers. In all honesty, this thing was looking pretty bad before I left for vacation, but you can close it so you don't get junk down in there to clog your holes. So underneath the watering tier, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other tiers in the one I got. So I'm just going to take these all apart and just start pulling the plants out of them. I don't think there's any coming back for these plants. The only ones that I am going to keep are my thyme and my parsley. I had let this lettuce continue to grow even past the point of like being bitter and being able to eat, because the green beans were growing up it. These were supposed to be bush beans, and then they almost like pulled up this lettuce. So I pulled this tier off, and it's still very much trying to hang on. But I'm just going to scrap all this. When I do pull my plants, I try to come through and just like tap off as much good dirt as I can. Obviously some of it isn't going to stay in there, but I got a bunch off just to save money, just to break it off of those roots. This chamomile was coming up, so I may try to save it. In the middle of every green stalk are these watering discs. This is how the water comes down through, towers over, and waters the inside of every level. But you do have to come out here and fill up your water on a regular basis. And then these come off, and every layer looks like this. I wish I would have just been live recording, because I pulled back one of my green stalk layers and there was a mouse down in there. Yes, a mouse. I screamed so loud. This is my deconstructed green stalk. I'm going to take all the soil out, dump it into a wheelbarrow, amend it for the fall, get rid of these dead plants, and replant it with some stuff that'll do good late summer, early fall. I am going to try to save my herbs that are growing because they really seem to be doing okay. So up at the edge of my property, we do have a compost pile. This is kind of our working pile that's almost done. And I really want to maybe build another pallet area around this side. That way I can put fresh stuff that hasn't broke down yet, but then I still have the ability to use this compost over here. So that's a work in progress, but right now it is what it is. But we do try to compost everything that we get, especially bedding from the chickens and things like that too. So I've got your typical just recycled brown grocery bag here. I'm just going to put the whole seed head in there, so as the seeds fall off, I can catch any that fall away as it continues to dry. And I'm just going to leave this on my front porch and let it dry out. The zucchini are not looking good. They can be pretty spiky down at the back on the bottom. So I've got these work gloves from Hestra that I like to use when I'm dealing with spiky plants. I'm just going to pull out these stakes that I was using to stake them up. I'll reuse those, so I'll lean that up against the side. But you can see this thing is flipped over. The leaves look terrible. There's no saving this plant, and it's important to know when there's no saving a plant and just to go ahead and pull it. I'm going to try to pull it from the base and get as much as I can. I had a feeling that was going to happen. I can see where like some vine borer has been in here, gotten some damage to it, so it broke off at the root. I'll come a little bit closer so you can see. When you start to see this like mushy, oatmeal-y looking stuff at the bottom of your plant, you've got a vine borer in there. There's no saving it. There's not much you can do. There's rotten zucchini on this plant. The whole thing's just going to go over in my wheelbarrow over there to go to the compost. While it can be sad to lose plants in the garden, it's good too, because then you have this opening up of a new area where you can plant something new. So I am sad to see the zucchini go. I love zucchini, but it's just one of those things. It's part of working in the garden. You've got to know when the next season is coming in. Really, I planted these zucchini back in May. It's the end of July. 3 months is about their limit. So I got what I did out of them, and they did good while they, well, they did good till they weren't. Sometimes it's also important to know when to go ahead and pull stuff, even if you haven't gotten any fruit from it. This cantaloupe vine, I've got a little baby cantaloupe growing on it, but the vine itself just didn't really look good. The cantaloupe itself is still very small. It really hasn't grown much. It's kind of deformed, if you can see. This vine is in the way of mowing. It's in the way of me planting new stuff there. So I think I just have to, you know, accept that this plant's not going to give me any fruit. It just doesn't look like a healthy plant. So there's no point in wasting my time or my garden space on a plant that just doesn't look great. You may remember some of these zucchini plants had actually already been turned over once before I went out of town, and I re-staked them, tried to give them a second chance, got a couple more fruits off of them, but now with the second go around they look even worse. So once again, it's just kind of a sign that it's time to move on. And I had known that before I went out of town. You may have seen in my last July gardening video where I said I'm going to replant my squash and zucchini. I'm going to replant my cucumbers. These are things I can get a second harvest out of sometimes here in North Carolina, Zone 7B. So I'm just going to try for a second harvest, see if I can get a little bit more. I might as well try it with a good fresh plant rather than one that is already riddled with disease and kind of dying anyways. The seeds for squash and zucchini, cucumbers, they don't take very long to take off and get to producing. And it'll be warm here through sometimes even Halloween. We're like sweating. So it just depends on the year. Sometimes it's a gamble this late in the season. We might have a cold snap quick. We might not though, and it might be warm into November. So I'm just gonna give it a try. This is where the zucchini were. The cosmos are kind of falling over because they were leaning on the zucchini. They weren't really standing up on their own, but look at the monster cucumbers that were hiding behind the zucchini. These are definitely gonna go to the chickens. This is just to show you another good view of the vine borer damage. You see how mushy it is right there? That's vine borer. And these are squash bugs. They're like, oh, hey girl, we heard you were out of town. We just coming to party and destroy your plants. So, got the zucchini pulled. About to pull the squash. Got quite a few cucumbers off the cucumber vines. I'm going to leave them. They're still producing and looking somewhat okay. So those are going to stay for a little bit longer. I got the zucchini cleaned out of this bed, but these cosmos, the more I look at them, they just really don't look healthy either. They're kind of falling around, falling down. I think I'm just going to pull these as well and replant so I have a nice, like, clean surface here to plant from. Although it's disappointing to pull squash, I will say growing it vertically, I have never had a stalk be this big around, this prolific, and this had other plants coming off of it. So growing vertically is definitely the way to go. Just opened up a lot of garden space for some fall planting. I will come back through and work on cutting this basil back a little bit. It's kind of taken off. It needs to be trimmed back. The dill's looking a little scraggly. I'm going to leave it. I've been harvesting it a lot for the cucumbers. My eggplant, she's looking okay, not great. I'm going to feed her, water her real good, and see if maybe just getting some of these other plants out from around her gives her some more sunlight and allows her to bounce back. And while the cantaloupes look a little scraggly, I am going to keep them because I do have some fruit coming on. I've got, that one's a Kajari melon. I've got a little Kajari melon on the other side coming in, so I don't want to pull those just yet. I'm trying so hard to stay on task here, but it is so easy to get overwhelmed in the garden once it gets to this point, because it's like every time you turn around, I mean, I've been out here for, I don't know, 2 hours already, and I've gotten some stuff done, but I feel like I haven't done a lot. But I was gone for a week, and it rained a lot, and we had a lot of storms, so I'm just going to keep plugging away at it and hope for the best. Hopefully I can stay on track and get it all done today. I think we've got another storm coming in, so hopefully that won't stop me either. I brought a jar out here with me. I'm going to take in some fresh flowers because these zinnias are looking so beautiful. I do have some heads that are spent. I'm going to cut these off, put them in a bag, allow them to dry in the bag so that way I can save seed for next season as well. If I leave them out here, the birds tend to just eat them, and I don't get left with very much. So hopefully putting them in the bag, I'll be able to seed save at least some. So to save these zinnia seeds, I've just got a little brown paper bag here, and any of my zinnias that have lost their petals like this, I'm just gonna come, probably cut them back here, but then cut the head off. And then, so it'll look a little bit like this. I don't know if you can see that. And we're just gonna drop it in the bag and let it continue to dry out. So just saving all these seed heads that I can. So then we'll have zinnia seeds for next year. As I was going through my flowers, I realized this sugar baby is getting pretty big, about to size that it needs to be. And I found its tendril down there. If I can find it again. There's its tendril, and it's dried up. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see if this watermelon is ready. Now these sugar babies don't get super big, but I think that's about the size they're supposed to be. So we'll take it inside and see. A little sugar baby watermelon that we got quite a few banana peppers, some jalapenos. Those jalapenos are very spicy. I took a couple to the beach. My kid usually likes spicy stuff, and he ate one, and he had his head under the faucet drinking water because he said it was too hot. I said, I didn't tell you to eat it, kid. Way more jalapenos back there than I realized. Yes, quite a few jalapenos today. Now to come through the tomato jungle and see how many tomatoes we can get. I see quite a few tucked back in there. So we got some more tomatoes. I got some Rutgers, some Better Boys, some Romas, a Cherokee Purple. This is honestly more produce than I was expecting. I think next year, hindsight's 2020, if I do decide to continue to do watermelon here, I am going to have to put down some sort of pathway so that the grass doesn't grow through, because it makes it very hard to see where you're stepping, and it's just a mess. There's grass everywhere, but there's also vines everywhere, so I can't really mow right here, which has added to the chaos of it all. But it's okay. It is what it is. It's going to be fine. At least we're getting some vegetables and harvest. But all right, I am going to try to come through and mow that area. We got the squash out, got the zucchini out, so we were able to clean that up a little bit. I am going to pick some more flowers because I'm trying to bring in a bouquet from the garden. My dahlias are just looking gorgeous. I do have a lot more tomatoes on these plants that are green, so I'll continue to get harvest from them, so they're going to stay for now. Yep. That's what we've got going on. I feel like this video was kind of chaotic. My garden is kind of chaotic right now though, so it is what it is. If you made it this far, leave a comment, drop down below. Let me know where you're growing at, how your garden's doing. Are you starting anything for the fall? I'm gonna go get some seed starting stuff today. Well, I need to look through my seeds first and see what I have, because I do have a ton of fall seeds. But I'm going to try to start to kind of get that plan together, but also put in the garden some stuff that can still survive in the summer, like squash, zucchini, cucumbers, like I said. Probably do a couple more ranges of flowers, like cosmos, some things that come on pretty quick that I can get in the garden. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. So I hope you have a blessed week. Pray for me as I clean this garden up and try to get it back into order. It just is what it is. This is how it is in North Carolina in July. Things start to go crazy, but I'm okay with it. I'm very thankful for the amount of food that I've gotten this year. I'm thankful for the following that I've already started to gain, and just the advice that's come from that. So if you have any advice, leave it down below. Like, subscribe, share with a friend, and I will see you later on.